Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. Welcome to my mental health channel, where I talk about personality disorders, especially mine, borderline personality disorder. I try to wipe away the stigma surrounding mental illness. I talk about therapy, therapists, my personal life, growing up with a narcissistic, abusive mother and a schizophrenic father, and having borderline personality. And before I begin, I like to tell everyone, the people that haven't watched my videos, that I am not a licensed therapist. So this is just my personal opinion. It is not a professional opinion that I give here. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you like my videos, give them a thumbs up and subscribe. It's absolutely free. And also, one thing I need to remind everyone, because a lot of people have written very rude things. I've deleted them, of course, and YouTube gets rid of them. But please be very kind in the comments to me, to everyone else, so that we can have respect for one another. We don't have to agree with everything, but we need to show kindness and respect. At least on my channel, you do. Now, today's video is how to get over your abusive, traumatic childhood, especially if you're someone with borderline personality disorder. This disorder is like a result of growing up with having a very abusive, neglectful, traumatic childhood. So this is only my personal opinion. As I state, I'm not a professional. I'm going to give you my opinion on how it might be helpful to get over a traumatic childhood. First off, I think you have to confront the fact that you had an abusive parents or caregivers. You have to own that. That's not always easy, and you might think that people do admit that, at least to themselves. They might not admit it to everyone else out there, like I do. But no, that's not always true. A lot of abused children grow up to be, even as adults, will stick up for the people that abuse them, and then they go on and have abusive relationships with other people and stick up for them. So no, that's not always the case. That you have to say, look, yes, I've been badly abused by my mother, my father, whoever it was, my sibling, my aunt, my uncle, my uncle raped me, or my mother beat me, or whatever. Okay, my father forced me to. You have to own that first, okay? Because like everything else, if you don't own something, you can't work on healing yourself. Like if I think I don't have a drinking problem, how am I going to get help with my drinking? If I say I don't have a drinking problem, I only drink like 4 or 5 vodka drinks a night, that's nothing. You see what I'm saying? I can't get help if I don't own the problem. So if you don't own that you were abused by your parents or your caregivers or whatever, your family members, you're never going to get better. This is my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm not a professional psychologist or therapist. But in my opinion, you have to own that. Now, I didn't own that till I was almost 40. All right? So there you go. It's not easy to say, and my parents were dead. Now, here's another thing that I would have done differently if I had owned that to myself earlier. If you own that to yourself, that such and such happened, and whoever abused you is alive, I would confront them. All right? Even if you say, oh, that'll do no good, they'll just deny it. Maybe they will deny it. But at least, you confronted the problem head on. You told them What you did was wrong. What you did was abusive. You hurt me. I think that brings closure. If they deny it, to hell with them. Have nothing to do with them again. But I think it brings closure. I know it brought closure to me, not with my parents, because I didn't own it until after they died, that they abused me. But with like 2 psychologists, I did own it before one of them already died. I did own it and reported him when he was alive. And then now Dr. Richard Geis, who's always been like a father figure to me, I did own it and report him when he's still alive at 80. I think it's helpful because it brings you closure. You don't have to have them agree to bring you closure. What brings you closure is you own that, hey, look, you abused me. You fill in the blank. You did this to me. And it's not okay. It's hurt me. And as a result, I have struggles in life. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I have borderline personality disorder. I have a drinking problem, whatever it is, I'm bipolar or whatever it is, And if they say, no, I didn't, that never happened, you're making that up, then you say, look, I've owned my part. I've told you my truth. And if you don't want to own your truth, then then just walk away. There's nothing more here to say, because if someone is not being honest with you when you're confronting them, how can you possibly have a relationship with them? How can you possibly have a relationship with someone who's in denial about what they did to you? You can't. All right? You're only kidding yourself. All right? I'm giving it to you straight. Look, my channel is straight. All right? I don't fool around. I say it as it is. I tell you things. I say things about myself that I'm not proud of. Go look at all my videos, all right? I don't try to sugarcoat anything. I'm coming out here and I'm giving it to you. I think that if your abusers are alive, you should confront them, If you can't bring yourself to do it face-to-face, do it in the letter or something. But, you should get closure on that. If they're not willing to give you closure by owning it first and apologizing second and trying to make up for it third, then you need to end that. Cut that off. Cut that off. That's no good for you. Cut it. Cut that tie. Get rid of it. This is just my opinion, all right? I don't think it's going to do you good to be in a relationship with someone who abused you in the past, that doesn't even own it, doesn't apologize, and doesn't try to make up for it. Those 3 things. Okay, they're not even going to own it. Get rid of them. Out. All right? But first, you've got to own it. You've got to own what happened to you. You can't sugarcoat it. Oh, I hear it. I see it in Facebook all the time. Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's perfectly normal to beat a kid up with a wooden spoon or a belt, That's discipline. Honey, that's child abuse. And guess what? You go get your ass in jail. Yes, you do. It's child abuse. So don't delude yourself in saying, that's discipline. You know why the kids today, they don't respect anyone because they need a good whooping. That's child abuse. All right? Straight out. If I knew someone who was whipping their kid, I would call the police on them and their ass would be in jail. The person who beat my handicapped son up, he's before the courts. All right? I'm just telling you that if you are going to be in denial and say that that was discipline, then, get yourself to a shrink. Because you're delusional. You're delusional. I'm giving it to you straight. If you say that was discipline, being beaten, any mark that someone leaves on your body, that's assault and battery. That's battery, you know. Any kind of mark left on your body, you know. That's not discipline, that's abuse. I'm giving it to you straight. You might not like to hear it, but if your parent raised their hand or took an instrument, a spoon, a belt, whatever, and put it on your body, you were severely abused as a child. If your parent called you names, stupid, or, I mean, I got called much worse than stupid. If your parent did that, or if your parent shamed you and said, you can't do that, you can't do this, you're worthless, I didn't want you. Abuse, abuse, abuse. Or if your parent neglected you, was drinking and passed out on the couch and didn't take care of you, that's neglect. It's all abuse. It's all goes under the umbrella of abuse. All right? Childhood abuse. And the sooner that you own up to it, you know, the sooner you can face it. Like I said, you can't fix a problem you don't own up to, right? If you need to lose 30 pounds and you're in denial and go, nothing wrong with me. You know, I got love handles. There's nothing wrong with that. Go to the doctor and see if you should be weighing what you do, because you are in denial, baby. All right? I'm not here to make fun of someone's weight or anything like that, you know, or traumas. I'm here to tell you that if you don't own up to your problem, you are never going to fix it. Because how can you fix something you don't even admit having, right? If you don't say, I have a problem with this, how can you fix it? You think, hey, ain't nothing wrong with me. I drink all day. What's wrong with that? You can't fix it if you say that. Ain't nothing wrong with me because I got some love handles that are like, 10 feet wide. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? If you don't admit the problem, you can't fix it. The first step in fixing any problem is owning it, admitting it. And with childhood trauma, that's what we need to do. We have to own that there was a problem, you were abused. And I think that you should confront, if the person is alive. If they're not, you can't do it, right? You should confront the person. Maybe you need a lot of therapy before you do that. Okay, you can't just run off and do it the next day. Try to find, I'm against therapy, but hey, if it helps some people, and it does help some people, if you need that before you confront someone, but I think you should confront someone. I don't think you should have a relationship with someone who abused you, especially if they're in denial and won't even admit it. How is that going to help you? It's not going to help you. You're only fooling yourself, and it's just not good to kid yourself. I mean, they say ignorance is bliss, but no. Ignorance is not. Ignorance is not bliss. Knowledge is power. Remember that. Knowledge is power. If you're ignorant, you can't do anything about something. If you're ignorant, like, I don't want to get too much into politics or something. Let's just say that you believe, like my son had meningitis and was in a coma, and I have religious beliefs that you don't go to the doctors or something, you just pray to God. I'm just use that as an example, and I didn't call the doctor. My son would be dead. I would have killed my son. I'm coming out and saying it straight, okay? If I didn't admit that there was a problem here, that needed medical attention right away, my son would be dead today, and it would be on me. I think they can arrest you for that, right? You don't do anything. It's a child. They can't help themselves if they're in a coma, right? I don't know how people can live with themselves, honestly, who do that. I have no idea. But that's what I'm trying to say. Unless you admit that, yes, there is a big problem here. You have to own that. Second of all, You need to confront that and get help ASAP, you know? You can't just say, oh yeah, there's a problem, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Then what's going to happen? You know, problems don't go away like that, you know? They just don't. So maybe what I'm saying is a little controversial today in this video. But I really do believe that these things need to be said, that these things need to be addressed, because, you know, kidding ourselves and sugarcoating things, you know, is not going to change anything. It's not going to change doing that. And if you want to live your life the way you are, in denial, are you really happy like that? Or are you just kidding yourself that you're happy like that? Right? How many people kid ourselves, right? That I'm not happy. All right? I'm not happy with the way a lot of things have turned out in my life. Not at all. But I'm not kidding myself, you know. I'm not with anyone who's abusing me. I'm only getting the utmost respect, you know. I don't care. I'd rather have nobody in my life than be with someone who's abusive, you know, who doesn't show me the utmost kindness and the utmost respect. I'd rather have no one. I'd rather be all alone than be abused. See what I'm saying? A lot of people have done me wrong. A lot of people. And I got rid of them all. Yep. I got rid of all of them. Because, you know, I refuse to be treated poorly. Absolutely flat out refuse it. Not anymore. Not at my age. Not at my age. I lived too long to... I finally got some self-worth. I finally got some self-respect. And I hope you do too. And I hope that you confront your traumas head on, own them, tell them to the people who did them, confront them. Get yourself into some good therapy if you need more to, you know, address these issues with yourself before you confront those people. But if you don't confront it yourself, you'll never be able to heal from it. And that is my belief. And I'm not a therapist, as I mentioned, but I lived long enough and have borderline personality disorder and have been through some horrific life experiences to be able to sit here and talk to you as a human being who's suffered miserably, who is, you know, who's been through this stuff, you know, that you really need to confront it. And that's my message to you for today. Okay, until next